Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Flesh and Blood video. It's finally time for High Seas, the newest set in Flesh and Blood. In this video, we'll be going over the Pirate cards, the Mechanologist cards, and the Ranger cards. Next video, we'll be taking a look at the Necromancer, generic, and expansion slot cards. This video is talking about all the pirate stuff, so that's already a pretty unique thing. Since that's the main idea of the set, and then next video is all the Necromancer stuff, which is another bit of more unique stuff. But I don't want to keep these videos super long as they have been in the past, and I know I keep saying that, but they keep getting longer and longer. So let's just get started right away with the first new card, Puffin Hightail, our new Mechanologist hero. Puffin is a 4 intellect, 40 health pirate mechanologist hero. Pirate is a new class, not a trait, which means we can get base pirate heroes, which is pretty cool. She has 2 abilities: action, tap, destroy a gold you control, create a golden cog token. The second time you crank each turn, draw a card. So obviously this is in 2 effects. We need to know what a golden cog is. A golden cog is just a token that starts with a Steam counter and you can crank it. Pretty basic, but it does give you the action point back that you need since Puffin's ability doesn't have Go Again itself. It also has Crank, which works for the second ability. Notably, this is the first card that talks about the new tap symbol, which is that symbol right there. Pretty much, tap abilities are kind of like once per turns, but if you untap the character, you can use the effect again. Or if something taps you, you can't use the effect again. It's just like Magic. You untap at the end of your turn, just like when you draw up and all your effects reset. So that's just pretty much just standard procedure stuff. The golden cogs are useful for more things than just Puffin's second ability, giving you a crank. What I really like about this hero is that she definitely has 2 different playstyles. She can use all the cogs with cards from the set and all those synergies to do what the set wants her to do, but I feel like she can also use her second ability more in a aggressive boost plan, similar to what Mechanologist has been in the past. There are really no boost cards this set. Actually, I don't think there's a single boost card this set, but because of the crank, you definitely have the position to do that and just play this high drawing aggro deck by converting your gold into cogs. But we'll have to see once the set goes on if people start doing that. The young version is the same. Not really need to talk about them. A brand new legendary is Polycranka. This is a new card type in Companion. There are 2 companions in the set. They both have perched, which means you can equip them with a 2-handed weapon, and it can't be attacked while it's equipped. Polycranka is an offhand ally with 1 health, and obviously it can't be touched while it's equipped to you. It has 2 effects. You can tap it as an action to banish it and return it to the arena under its owner's control, unequipped, tapped, and with a Steam counter, and it has Crank. So the idea is whenever you need a crank, you can use Polycranka to just get that. It does have some downside versus some matchups. Ninja can get a free mask proc against you. But other than that, it's just a 1 health ally that doesn't really do anything outside of that. Technically, if they don't kill it, you can keep using the ability. Actually, not even technically. If they don't kill it, you can keep using the ability to get a crank every turn. So your opponent will need to remove the Polycranka, which can be annoying for some slower decks. But any deck with the real Go Again threat will just get rid of it super quickly, and you won't be able to keep repeating this effect over and over again. Overall, it's a really good card. If you're playing Puffin, you're guaranteed playing this card. Pirate Mechanologist has 2 Majestics this set. The first one is Golden Skywarden. This is a 4/7 yellow with 2 block and Galvanize. Galvanize is the mechanic that when you defend with the card, you can destroy an item you control. And if you do destroy an item you control, the attack gets +1, or the defense gets +1. If the item you destroyed was a golden cog, you make a gold and you can repeat the process. This is a way to turn your cogs back into gold tokens if they're about to expire, allowing you to use Puffin's ability again over and over to keep making more gold tokens. It's also another good defensive card, as this can easily get to 4 block. You're probably never playing it for its stats, but I could see a world where you do end up doing so inside of like a limited or something. It's mainly here to just block and reset your cogs to gold. Jolly Bludger is the other Majestic. It's a yellow 2-cost 5 for 3. It has 3 effects. When it attacks, you may tap a cog you control. If you do, this gets overpower. When this deals damage to a hero, steal that many items they control. And thrice per turn instant, you can tap a cog you control to give this +1. Very similar to a lot of the other ships in the set. There are a lot of them. They all have effects that let you tap a cog to give it power. Some even get go again. This one can be used 3 times a turn, which means if you use 3 cogs, it can become a 2 for 8. But if you have a 4th cog or you want to just give it overpower if it makes it hard to block, you can do that as well. Very good versus item decks, really good in the mirror as you can steal your opponent's cogs. Really good just against any pirate as you steal their gold. Just a powerful card. I don't know if it's main board playable. I wouldn't play this against any deck that there are no items to steal. But if there are, definitely slot this one in. Puffin has access to 2 weapons in this set. The Cogrex Blunderbuss is a 2-power mechanologist gun. It's 2-handed. It has 2 effects, an action for 2 resource and tap to attack, and an instant where you can tap a cog you control to give this card's next attack go again. This allows you to go a little wide. It does have the downside of needing 2 resource to fire, which the Spitfire, the next gun we'll be talking about, doesn't, but that one requires you to use a cog to attack with it. So if you don't have a cog in play, you can actually swing at the Blunderbuss, where Spitfire you can't. I do, however, think Spitfire is better, at least if you're playing the aggressive Puffin list, as you'll generally have a cog in play. You can attack with it for free, but you need to tap it and a cog you control. But when it attacks, you can tap an additional cog to give it +1 power, letting it come in for 3. I think this is generally the better gun, but for limited, I can easily see a reason why someone would play the Blunderbuss over the Spitfire. Mechanologist gets a brand new legendary this set in the Cogrex Tinker Rings. This is a 2-block battle-worn Mechanologist arm that on defend gives you a golden cog token. I don't see a world where you're ever not playing this in Puffin. It's probably the only hero you do play it in, but it's still an extremely good glove and one that you should definitely look for if you want to play Puffin. There are 2 common Mechanologist equipment in the set. Rust Belt, a chess piece with Battle-Worn 1 that you can tap it and a cog you control to destroy it and gain a resource. And Unicycle, which is a legs with Battle-Worn 1 where you can tap it or you can destroy it to untap a cog you control. Some pretty simple effects. I don't think these are going to see any constructed play, but good in limited. Mechanologist has 4 base M's. Cogrex Dovetail is a 1 for 5 at red with 3 block. On hit, you untap all cogs you control, and thrice per turn you can tap a cog to either give it +1 or go again. This card's going to see play in probably every Puffin list since it can be a 1 for 5 go again, and it untaps all your cogs, so as long as you have 1, you get that effect. It's sort of a must block, even in the aggro list, as you could play another ship right after. And in the slower lists that are playing more ships, this is pretty much a must block, as if you can get the value off of those cogs, you can play another ship and get an immense amount of pressure. The next ship is Palantir Aeronaut. This is a 2 for 6 with 3 block, where a defending hero must defend this with an equipment they control if able. Thrice per turn, you can tap a cog to give it +1, and if it's the 3rd time you use the ability, you destroy a defending card, meaning this is easy equipment removal if you can get 3 untapped cogs for the card. Other than that, it works sort of like a T-Bone, disrupting the opponent's armor. This ship build is a little better when you want to actually play some pirate cards in your deck, since none of them have boost, and you actually can generate a lot of gold to make a lot of cogs if you're playing the pirate build. If you're playing the boost plan, I probably wouldn't play the Palantir, as T-Bone's just better in my opinion. But if you can make the cogs, Palantir is an incredible disruptive threat that can destroy even equipment with no blocking keyword. Cog in the Machine is was a one cost action, with 3 block. You create 2 golden cogs, and you can tap a cog to put this card on the bottom of its owner's deck. A pretty powerful effect that gives you 2 cogs, great to end your turn with to go into your next turn with 2 cogs, letting you use your ships really easily. Can also be used to crank twice to draw you a card off of your hero's ability and give you a bonus action point back. You will need to crank at least 1 cog if you wanted to do something after you play Cog in the Machine, but this is a card that probably sees play in more than just Puffin, as in Max, it can be used to get multiple swings from your Mechanoid as well. The last Mechanologist Majestic in the set is Cog Rex Workshop. This is a 1 cost blue with 3 block. It creates a single golden cog token, and you can put a steam counter on up to 2 cogs you control. Another really powerful card for Puffin, as it's a blue 3 block you'll generally always put in your deck. It can give you a cog and gives you another action point, as cranking the cog will still let you to get a steam counter on it. And if you use Puffin's ability already this turn, you can put a steam counter on that cog, letting you keep both going to your next turn. Both of these golden cog generating cards are incredibly powerful, and I think they're going to see play in pretty much every Puffin deck. Moving on to the rares, as you know, if a card's multicolor, we'll only be reading the red version, but there's a lot of cards this set that aren't multicolor, so I will specify if a card is multicolor. Cloud City Steamboat is multicolor. It's a 2 for 6 at red with 3 block. On hit, you can tap a cog to put a steam counter on a cog you control, so you can keep them around. And twice per turn, you can tap a cog to give this +1. Pretty powerful, lets you keep some cogs in play, and I especially really like that all these effects are instant speed, so you can get over your opponent's blocks. Cogrex Zeppelin is another multicolor card. This one lets you tap a cog on hit to make a golden cog token, which can theoretically give it go again, as you can then crank that cog. Also, it has the twice per turn instant to gain +1. Copper Cog is a blue-only item you can put in your deck. It has a new keyword called Unlimited, which means you can have any number in your deck. And it has Crank, but enters with 2 steam counters, so cranking it will let it stay around for another turn. Not sure how many of these you're going to put in your deck, but this does seem like a good card to play in Puffin, as it's a cog that can be used for your other effects. Notably, it's not a golden cog, so if something specifies golden, such as the Golden Sky Warden, you will need those specifically. But for all of your other ships, the normal cog works perfectly fine. Lubricate is a 0-cost instant and only blue that just untaps 3 cogs you control. Pretty powerful to have on a turn you're playing multiple sky ships. Pinion Sentry is a Mechanologist block. When it defends, you can tap a cog you control to make a golden cog token. Honestly, an incredibly powerful card in Puffin. I think this one will definitely see play. Moving on to the commons. Cloud Skiff is a 1 for 5 with a once per turn to tap a cog to give it +1 or go again. Comes in multiple colors. Sky Skimmer is the same, but at 0 for 4 cost. I think you're definitely playing Sky Skimmer in Puffin, and you probably are playing Cloud Skiff too, as these are 2 effects that let you go a little wide in the deck. Teeth of the Cog is a 0-cost 4-power 2-block with Galvanize to destroy an item you control and make a golden cog. Tough Old Wrench is the same, but in a 2 for 6 variety. I think both of these cards are pretty playable, but I don't know if they're going to see much constructed play. They're definitely really good in limited, though. The last rainbow card that Mech gets access to in the set is the Goldwing Turbine. This is a 2-cost action that gives your next Mechanologist attack +3 at red, and you make a cog, and of course it's multicolored. It's just a good card that can help make cogs, and the fact that it blocks for 3 means you can probably play the blue one inside of CC, as it's still a 3-block blue. The last Mechanologist cards in the set are Draw Back the Hammer, Perk Up, and Tighten the Screws. These are all 1-cost 2-block actions that give your next Mechanologist attack +4 and untap something you control. Draw Back the Hammer untaps your gun, Perk Up untaps your hero, and Tighten the Screws untaps a cog. I think Tighten the Screws is probably the best one, as untapping a cog seems really powerful in the Skyship decks. And I don't know if the boost decks would want to play Perk Up to untap the hero to make another cog, but Perk Up also seems really good as it lets you use Puffin's ability a second time. Draw Back the Hammer seems like the worst one, but with the Cogrex Blunderbuss, you can untap the gun so you can attack with it again, since the Blunderbuss has Go again. If you do get a hand that ends up like that. I think that's mostly a limited thing, though. Overall, Mechanologist seems very, very powerful this set. I think if anyone is, sort of down on these cards, I really don't think they should be. All of them seem extremely powerful, even the ones that seem a little weaker. Lubricate, I think, is the worst card here, simply because it doesn't really do much. It's a win more card. It does help you versus effects that'll tap your stuff, but if you're really playing this card, you're using a blue to untap 3 cogs, but you're already sending 2 ships in 1 turn if you're doing that theoretically, which is already pretty good. So I think Lubricate's the worst card here. But overall, even the commons, I think the turbines are good. I think the 2 galvanizes that make a golden cog are pretty good. And obviously, Sky Skimmer, Cloud Sift, those are going to be cards you're going to be playing in pretty much all of your ship-based decks. Same as things like Pinion, Century, probably Copper Cog. All of the M's, I think, go straight into a ship-based deck really, really easily. Puffin has builds. I think the boost plan is still pretty good. When I do make videos for the decks, I'll probably make one each, one for the boost plan, one for the ship plan, because I think they are very unique, honestly, and they play really differently. But with that, I think Mechanologist very, very powerful this set. If I was a mech player, I would be very happy. Next, let's move on to the Ranger cards. Our new Ranger hero is Marilyn Treasure Hunter. She is a 4 intellect, 40 health Pirate Ranger hero, which means you can play Pirate and Ranger cards. She has 2 effects. Action, tap, destroy a gold you control, create a Goldfin Harpoon in your hand, go again. And whenever you draw a card during your action phase, you may put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal. Overall, I think Marilyn is pretty powerful. And that's kind of an understatement, considering when we'll talk about 3 of a kind after I talk about the Harpoon plan. Goldfin Harpoon is just a 0 for 2. It can't block, it can't be pitched, and when it would go to your graveyard, you remove it from the game. It's just here to give you an arrow that's playable, and it's a harpoon for your effects like Hammerhead, her main weapon. The reason why I had to mention that is because we currently don't know a certain interaction. How does Marilyn work with 3 of a kind? If you don't know, 3 of a kind is a card that says draw 3 cards. You can only play cards from your arsenal for the remainder of the turn. Well, does Marilyn give you 3 triggers or 1 trigger? That's the important distinction. If Marilyn gives you 3 triggers, then the first one can load an instant. You can then play the instant if you draw like Rain Razors. The second one loads another arrow, and then the third one gets to load a second arrow thanks to New Horizon, the headpiece from Tales of Aria. If you only get to load 1 card, that's perfectly fine, since that you still get to load a card, and then you still drew 2 more cards. So if you load a Go Again arrow, you can use your Death Dealer to load an arrow, and then draw a card to load another arrow. But I think that's important to know. I believe we currently don't know, and they didn't ban 3 of a kind, which was a card I thought they were going to ban because of this interaction, but we'll have to see. Other than that, though, Marilyn is designed in a way so that if you do draw a card, you can load an arrow, which is important because her main bow, Hammerhead, does not load an arrow. It only gives an arrow +4, and if it's a harpoon, overpower. So you need to find other ways to put harpoons in your arsenal. Either it be arsenaling them at the end of turn or drawing a card to immediately load one. Maryland's young hero is the exact same as the adult hero, just with half the HP. Hammerhead Harpoon Cannon is one we've already talked about. Notably, it has harpoon in the name. Notably, it has cannon in its text. That was the distinction. Sorry. Cannon in its card text, or its type, because a lot of the cards with a new mechanic Go Fish want you to have activated a cannon. This is the only cannon. For 4, you can tap it to give your next arrow +4, which is way below rate. But if it has harpoon in its name, it gets overpower, which is pretty good when you consider all the Go Fish cards have some pretty powerful hit effects. Let's take a look at one. King Kraken Harpoon is a 2-for-6 that on hero hit, they choose a card in their hand and reveal it. If it's a non-attack action, they discard it and you make a gold token. But if you activated a cannon this turn, you get to look at their hand and pick the card instead. This is some insane disruption. If you've activated the cannon, not only is it a 2-for-10, which, well, technically it's a 6-for-10, which is on rate, but it is overpower, meaning it's going to be so hard to block for your opponent, allowing you to easily make a gold token and take a peek at what they got. King Shark Harpoon is the exact same, however, looks at an attack action card instead. Both are incredibly powerful, and if you are playing Maryland as this harpoon style deck, there's no world where you ever don't include 3 copies of each of these cards. Big Game Trophy Shot is a 2-cost Pirate Ranger action. It has 3 block. Your next arrow gets +4, and if that card had harpoon in its name, it gains on hit, make it gold. It also lets you draw a card, then discard a card, which is important because that'll trigger Maryland, allowing you to load up one of your harpoons. Notably, you haven't used your cannon yet, so you'll still need to activate the cannon to get that guarantee on the Go Fish, but it still is a 2-for-4 pump that does let you load an arrow. Gold the Tip is a 0-cost action with 2 block that gives your next arrow +3, and if there's a yellow arrow face up in your arsenal, you make a gold token. The only problem I have with this card is that there are no Pirate Ranger arrows that are yellow except for Goldfin Harpoon, which means you'll need to use it with the Goldfin Harpoon, which is not a very good card. But it is decent. You do get 3 pump for free, and you do get to make a gold if you can actually fulfill that situation. Next up is Bluefin Harpoon, Redfin Harpoon, and Yellowfin Harpoon. All of them are the same. They're all blue 2-for-4s with 3 block, and they all have Go Fish to your opponent reveals a card from their hand. If it's a certain colored card, they discard it and you make a gold. But if you've activated a cannon, you look instead. So pretty much instead of being non-attack or attack like the King Harpoons, these Fin Harpoons check specific colors. Blue looks for blue, red looks for red, yellow looks for yellow. Yellow is definitely the weakest as not a lot of decks play yellows compared to blues and reds, especially Pirate Heroes. Even though a lot of their cards are about yellows, most of the cards they play are going to be blue. So blue gets a lot of use, and versus a lot of aggressive decks, Red Fin Harpoon is going to be very good as most of them play a lot of red cards. We have another token for Rusty Harpoon. It's not very good. It's a 0 for, actually, sorry, it's not even a token. This is a card you put in your deck. It's a blue block 3 0-for-1. It exists to be a small arrow that you can pump up with Hammerhead. It's because it's technically a harpoon. It blocks 3, so it's fine. And you can actually pitch it because it's blue. So it does have some use. It's a common. It's the only Pirate Ranger common in the set. It's fine. And then we already talked about Goldfin Harpoon. Next, moving on to base Ranger. Ranger does have another weapon. If you don't get a lot of the Harpoon cards, you can always just play Red Spine Manta. This is a bow that lets you tap it to load an arrow from your hand face up. Very simple effect. Perfect for Limited. You're probably never playing this card outside of Limited, but I think there actually could be a world where it does happen. The brand new legendary for Ranger is Sea Lace Sarongs. These are 2-block Braid Break Ranger legs. They have an instant to tap them and turn a blue arrow in your arsenal face up and give it go again. Incredibly powerful for the go wide plan. Let you turn arrows in your arsenal face up, give them go again. Makes none of the blue arrows that you end on ever bad, especially in the 3-of-a-kind list, which honestly might be the deck list we start with. This like go wide 3-of-a-kind based list. Incredibly powerful, as you can just end your arsenal on any arrow. And then even though they are a blue arrow, next turn you start your turn with a go again arrow and just have an incredibly powerful turn. Probably I would say the best legendary in the set, honestly. Also really good alongside these blue harpoons, as you can give them go again. And these are actually playable blues you want to be playing. For the other equipment, Patch the Hole is just a headpiece that lets you put a card from your arsenal into your hand. Just good for Limited. And Glidewell Fins is a 1-cost version of Bullseye Bracers, but with Battle Worn instead of AB, you're probably never playing this in Constructed. Again, it's going to be just for Limited. Moving on to the Ranger M's. Barbed Barrage is a 1-for-5 with 3-block that has been puzzling me a little bit. It has an additional cost to play it. You may pay 3 resource. If you do, this attack can target an additional target. The reason why this is confusing me a little bit is because I want to know the interaction with Spectra. If your opponent has an Arclight Sentinel in play, can you target another Spectra Aura and destroy both? I think the answer would be yes, because you obviously can't target the same thing twice, because then you would throw this at your opponent for 10 before pumps, and you would get double the pump value, and that would be broken. So it's not going to let you do that. But Arclight Sentinel says you have to target it. So if you can't target the same thing twice, you can get rid of 2 Spectra Auras, which is really powerful. Also, if you point it at your opponent and you target a Spectra Aura, don't do that because the card's going to fizzle because the Spectra Aura ends the combat chain. But if you're hitting 2 Spectra Auras, you're triggering them both to blow themselves up. So I think this card will be good versus those matchups, as well as any ally deck. I think this is a good card against Gravy Bones as well. So probably consider this one for your sideboards if you're a more blue-based Ranger deck. Return Fire is a Ranger block. It is 4-block. It says when it defends, you can banish an arrow from your hand. If you do, at the start of the next turn, you put it face up into your arsenal and it gets +3 until end of turn. A good block that can give +3, some extra defensive power to Ranger. Really good with Maryland if you are on the Harpoon plan, as it's a way to load an arrow if you don't have an arsenal. Really, really powerful. Good card here. Drop the Anchor is a 0-for-3 pump that gives the arrow an on-hit to tap the hero hit and all allies they control. Just a good card against Gravy Bones. Fire in the Hole is a 0-for-3 pump that untaps a bow you control. So if you do play that new bow, you can fire a go again arrow and then untap it with this to play another arrow. Monkey Powder is a rare that gives your next arrow +1 an overpower, as well as letting you draw a card. But it does cost 3, so it does have a pretty hefty cost, but you can use it in Maryland to load an arrow, give it overpower, and then swing in. Next is Hook. This is a 0-cost 3-block action that lets you look at the top card of your deck. If that card's an arrow, you can put it face up into your arsenal, and if you do, it gets +1. Line is the same effect, but instead of +1, it gets go again. And Sinker is the same effect, but instead of +1 or go again, it gets overpower. I don't think any of these are going to see play, but there's always a shot. Dry Powder Shot is a 0 for 3 that if it's put face up in your arsenal, it gets +2 this turn. Entangling Shot is if it's put face up in your arsenal, you tap target hero, and it's a 0 for 4. Nettling Shot is a 0 for 4 that can tap an ally if it's put face up in your arsenal. Scouting Shot is a 0 for 4 that you can look at the top card of your deck if it's put face up in your arsenal. And finally, Swift Shot is a 0 for 4 that gets go again if it's put face up in your arsenal. Obviously, Swift Shot is a lot better than the other ones, as this is a go again arrow. Perfect for that 3 of a kind deck. We already wanted to be on a lot of blue arrows, and already we were going to be on 9 Bolt and Shot. So with these 3 Swift Shots, your 9 Bolt and Shots, you go to 12, and you probably don't play blue, but I could easily see playing yellow Falcon Wings alongside the reds. We got a really good amount of go again arrows. Alongside the Sea Laces, we can easily do multi-arrow turns and just draw through our deck and do a lot of damage. But again, that'll have to be testing. Also the interaction with 3 of a kind. If it doesn't interact the way you get 3 triggers, even if you only get 1 trigger, you can play it with Death Dealer. This is a 0 for 4 arrow you get to send in for free, because since it is go again. And other than that, it's just really powerful. Just a good 0 for 4 with go again. This is the only rare I really need to talk about, though, because I think none of the other ones are going to see much CC play. Then Ranger does have some imprints this set, or reprints this set. Not imprints, sorry. I was playing a game a while ago that has, like, imprints for characters with dupes. Whatever. Gotcha game stuff. Headshot, some reprints. Headshots. Headshot. 1 for 4. If it's loaded in your arsenal, it gets +2. 1 for 6. Salvage Shot. On hit, goes to the bottom of your deck, 1 for 5. Sikkim Shot, 1 for 4, go again. Actually, you probably could play this in the 3 of a kind deck too, as just another go again arrow, since you're probably pitching a card every turn. Anyway, so Sikkim Shot could also be another good go again arrow, reprinted in this set. The last new Ranger card is Call in the Big Guns. This is 0 for 3, and it lets you reload, but it's not reload because it's just put an arrow from your hand into your arsenal. So it's better, because reload only works if you have no cards in your arsenal. Overall, Ranger, I think, is incredibly powerful. I want to see how the Harpoon deck is, because I think that's definitely a more fun way to take the deck, but a better way to take the deck is probably the 3 of a kind version, as we've seen in the past. Of course, it's hard to tell. The reason why Lexi was so strong with it was because she could just use her bow twice a turn, and her bow gave go again, where Marilyn can't give her arrows go again as easily, so she doesn't get a lot of the better arrows like Drill Shot or Infecting Shot during the chain, only at the end. But I think there are enough go again arrows, as well as pumps and other synergies, that you can still play that type of deck, as well as something like Death Dealer does get to load you 2 arrows plus drawing you the card. So I think it does need a little more testing now that we have the whole set we can see, but seems very powerful to me. I think, again, if you are a Ranger player, you would not be disappointed in this set. Next, let's move on to Pirate Heroes with a brand new thing they're doing in this set, adding in a draftable hero in Scruv. So let's go take a look at the brand new Pirate cards. Scruv Stowaway is a 4 intellect, 20 health pirate thief hero. He is a young hero. Thief is a new class, however, he is the only thief. Also, there are cards that interact with thief in this pirate class, so we'll take a look at those as we go over these pirate cards. Scruff has 2 abilities. He can tap himself and destroy a gold to make a Gold Kiss rum. We'll talk about that token later, because it's a general card that a lot of pirates will use, and that ability is go again. And whenever you activate a Gold Kiss rum, you gain a resource. So he's only playable in Blitz or Limited. To play him in Limited, you need to open him or take him in draft. He doesn't have a weapon, but there is a common token that you can play in Sticky Fingers, which is his companion. We'll talk about that after. But I think Scruv is a really cool card. It's a new thing they're doing where they're putting some draftable heroes inside of sets to change up playstyles. You don't get access to any class cards if you are playing Scruv, but there's enough pirate and generic that you can definitely make him work still. Pretty powerful hero. Gold Kiss Rum is pretty good, so can't wait to see what impact he makes on Limited. And also, I believe he does not have an adult version, so you cannot play him in Classic Constructed. Sticky Fingers is his companion. Notably, you don't need to play it with a two-handed weapon. He is just the weapon you have. It's an offhand. That's notable too when we talk about Gravy Bones, who also doesn't have a weapon. Sticky Fingers has perched just like Polycranko, but instead of a nothing 1, it's a 2/2, meaning it can actually attack. And that's actually how you unequip Sticky Fingers. By tapping it, you can attack with it, and if it's equipped, you unequip it. And when it attacks a hero, you just steal a gold they control. Not even an on hit, you just get to take the gold for free. Pretty powerful with the thief idea of stealing your opponent's gold. That's why he's in the set. Your opponent will have to deal with it, or you'll get him attacking over and over, stealing more and more gold. Pretty powerful, but it's just Scruv's weapon that he gets to play. It's a part of his kit pretty much. Pirate's new legendary is the Gold Baited Hook. This is a pirate arm. It is 1 block and battle worn. You can tap it to make your next pirate attack this turn, get on hit of hero, steal a gold they control, otherwise create a gold. At the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't created or stolen a gold this way, or this turn, destroy this, and it has go again. So notably, you'll need to actually activate it to get that effect of it being destroyed. So if you don't activate it, it'll stay in play. So it's sort of like the risk reward. If you activate it and then don't get anything, you're kind of out of luck. But if you can activate it and then get a hit, you'll keep it in play for the next turn. I think it's pretty good. I'm just not sure what deck actually wants it, as Ranger already has really good arms, and then Puffin got the new arms, so it's probably just going to be Scruv or Gravy, possibly. For the common equipment, there is not a cycle, but it's sort of a cycle. Blue Sea Tricorn is a 3-cost action to destroy and draw a card with 1 block Blade Break. Buccaneer's Bounty is an action to destroy and gain a resource with 1 block Blade Break. Fish Fingers are a resource to destroy it and give your next attack +1, and it has 1 block Blade Break. And Peg Leg for 3 lets you destroy it to give your next attack go again this turn, and it has 1 block Blade Break. These are like a little worse than other equipment we've already seen, like Buccaneer's Bounty is a worse version of Blossom of Springs, but it has 1 block. We've seen helmets that let you pay 3 to draw a card before and destroy itself. But these are just pirate draft equipment. I don't think any of them are going to see any CC use. Moving on to the M's, Conqueror of the High Sea has a new mechanic in High Tide. This is just an effect that's on if you have 2 blue cards in your pitch zone. So pretty simple. This is a 4/7 with 3 block. On hit of hero, you destroy all cards in their arsenal and make a gold for each card destroyed this way. So very powerful. Can be played in any of the pirate heroes. And if you have High Tide, it gets +1 and go again, which means it's a 4/8 with go again that destroys arsenal. Very, very powerful. Obviously, if you can keep a full 4 to 5 card hand, you can just swing at an opponent, threaten their arsenal, and then throw something else big right after. Sort of the idea of pirates so far has been to just play huge attacks that are really greedy, which I think is perfectly on flavor. Really powerful card here. I really do like it. Loan Shark is a 0-cost pirate action aura. It is 3 block and go again. When it enters the arena, you make 2 gold, and at the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't made or stolen a gold this turn, you destroy it and lose 2 life unless you discard a card. I really only think this card will see much use in Puffin. I don't think Gravy Bones wants to put this card in his deck, as it's not a blue and not a Watery Grave card or a very prominent attack like Conqueror. Nor is it nor do you really care about Goldfin Harpoons, honestly. So you're probably not playing this in anything but Puffin, but in Puffin, you just get 2 gold when you play it. Pretty powerful. If you're playing the Skyship deck. If you're not, don't play it because it's not mech. Tip the Bartender is a blue block 3 pirate that makes a Gold Kiss rum. And you can give a gold token to another hero. If you do, you put this on the bottom of your deck. You're never giving someone a gold, pretty much ever. It's just here as a blue block 3 pirate card that makes a Gold Kiss rum. Now's a good time to talk about the Gold Kiss rum, because I think people will play Tip the Bartender. Gold Kiss rum, is it all the way down here? Yes, it is a generic token that on tap at instant speed, you can tap your hero and destroy it to make your next action this turn get go again. But if your hero isn't a pirate, you don't untap next turn. Which is really important because you can't use it multiple turns in a row. This is notable for when we talk about generics, because there's a really good brute card in the generic slot that a lot of different brutes are going to play that makes the rum, and none of them are pirates. But for the purpose of pirates, very powerful. Let's just give our Harpoons go again. This is a great card to play in either of the Maryland decks, as it's a go again effect. And she doesn't care about tapping yourself to make the Harpoons. Very good card in Gravy Bones, as you can give the allies go again, since it's any action, either their attack or their playment. Their playment into play. Is that the right saying? I guess. When you play them. And it can be good to give Skyships go again if you don't want to tap Cogs to give them go again. So a very powerful card. I think this one will definitely see some use. Sunken Treasure is a pirate block for 3 block. When it defends, you can turn a card in any graveyard face down. And if it's yellow, you make a gold token. Some good graveyard hate for any deck that cares about their graveyard, but mainly you'll be using it to make a gold token, which is pretty good. HMS Barracuda is a 4/6 with on hit of a hero destroying an ally they control. It is high tide to get +1 and overpower. HMS Kraken is destroying an item they control with the same stat line. And HMS Maryland is the same, but destroy the top card of their deck. This is just a yellow destruction cycle with high tide. Pretty simple. Murderous Rabble is a 0/0 at blue with 3 block. It has go again, and when it attacks, reveal the top card of your deck. This gets +X, where X is the pitch value of the card revealed. If this card was legal in Zen, oh my god, that would be insane. I don't know if this will see play in any of the other heroes. Maryland probably wants a lot more reds in her deck, especially because most of the arrow pumps are red. You're probably playing like half blues. The Skyship deck, all the good Skyships are red. Maybe in Gravy you play this, since you're going to hit a blue or a yellow card most of the time. Seems pretty interesting. I think this card could actually see some play. Pilfer the Week is a rainbow 3/7 at red. On hit of hero, you turn a card in their graveyard face down, and if it's yellow, you make a gold. This is just going to be a limited card, but can be some graveyard hate. Saltwater Swell is a 1/3, block 3 with go again. When it attacks, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's blue, pitch it. This is a really interesting effect. I believe there's another card in this set that lets you pitch a card from the top of your deck, and both of those effects are really interesting. Of course, this card will probably only see play inside of Gravy. I could see a world where you play the blue in Gravy, so it's not only a blue that you can pitch for your turn, but if you need to, you can get a bonus pitch from your deck and even hit this from your deck. I think it's a very powerful card that might actually see some play. Divvy Up is the first card in sort of that thief idea. It's a 0-cost 3 block that has you remove half the gold counters from Treasure Island rounded up. If your hero is a thief, you instead remove all of them, and then you make gold equal to the number of gold counters removed this way. Treasure Island is for limited. I'm not going to be going over it because it's for limited, and we're talking about mostly Classic Constructed here, or Blitz. I don't talk much about limited. Portside Exchange is a 3-block pirate card that has you discard a card, then draw a card. But if you discarded a yellow card, you make a gold token. I can see this seeing a lot of play inside of Gravy, but I don't think it'll see play anywhere else. Seafloor Salvage is a 0-cost blue block 3 that has you turn a card in graveyard face down. If it's yellow, make it gold. I don't think it's better than the block, but there's a shot. Scrub the Deck has you destroy the top card of any hero's deck, but if that card is yellow, you make a gold token. Pretty powerful, some easy deck damage, but a lot of the time you're going to play this in Gravy and target yourself. Shifting Tides is a 0-cost go again. At the start of your turn, pitch the top card of your deck. If it's blue, put this on the bottom. Otherwise, destroy this. Actually, a really good card. I can easily see this card inside of Gravy Bones as a blue block 3 that can get you some extra resource at the start of your turn. This is the other card that lets you pitch. I don't know if it'll see play in any of the other heroes, but I really like this idea of pitching from the top of your deck. Not So Fast is a Scrub specialization. I believe the only spec in the set. It is a 0-cost yellow pirate instant that makes the next time an opponent draws from a gold effect this turn, instead you draw a card. So if your opponent's cracking gold, you can play this to take the card from them. Pretty powerful, but again, only usable in Scrub. Throw Caution to the Wind is a pirate instant that has you reveal the top card of your deck, and then the next time you will be dealt damage this turn, you prevent damage equal to the pitch value. Of course, you want to hit a blue to make it on rate, but if you don't, it's a bit weaker. Honestly, I could see this card in boards in Gravy to fight against some Kano. Lost in Transit is a yellow block that on defend lets you remove a counter from Treasure Island. If you do and you are a thief, make it gold. Battalion Barak is a 4 for 7, where if you have High Tide, it gets +2, making it a 4 for 9. This one comes in all 3 colors. Expedition to Azure Keys, Expedition to Blackwater Strait, Expedition to Dreadfall Reach, and Expedition to Horizon's Mantle are all varying costs of attacks on rate that put a counter on Treasure Island. Golden Tipple is a 1 for 3 with Go Again, with when it attacks, you can discard a yellow card, and if you do, draw a card and make it gold. Honestly, again, I think this card could see some play in some lists, but probably just a draft card. Gold Hunter Light Sail is a 1 for 4 that if you have less gold than your opponent, it gets Go Again in yellow. Gold Hunter Longboat is the same but gets +2 and is a 0 for 3. Gold Hunter Marauder is a 3 for 6 with the same type of effect but gets Overpower. Gold Hunter Catch is a 4 for 7 but costs 2 for less for the same check. These cards are all just going to be limited. Swiftwater Sloop is a 2 for 6 in all 3 colors that gets Go Again if it has High Tide. Actually a good card. Will see play in Constructed, most likely in Gravy. Swindler's Grift is a 2 for 6 where you can discard a yellow card if you do draw a card and make a gold. Thieving Varmints is an attack that steals a gold from Treasure Island. If you're a thief, make a gold token. Chart a Course is a rainbow common that gives your first attack each turn +3, and you put a counter on Treasure Island. Notably, the other colors do not lower the damage, but check a different attack. Red checking first, yellow checking second, and blue checking third. Mutiny on the Battalion Barak lets you steal a gold from your opponent if they have more gold from you. If you control 1 or more gold stolen this way, your next attack gets +2. Nimbus Sovereign is the same but Overpower. Swiftwater is the same but Go Again. Whew. That is all of the pirate cards. A lot of them, most of them draft fodder. However, some of them will see play. Conqueror of the High Seas, very good. Sunken Treasure, very good. Tip the Bartender, very good. Lone Shark, probably good in Puffin. Most of them are probably only Gravy Bones playable, but things like Portside Exchange, Saltwater Swell, Swiftwater Slope, possibly one of the mutinies for the Mirror, all seem very good inside of Gravy. Shifting Tides as well. I think you probably end up playing a lot of these cards, as he doesn't have much access to a lot of Necromancer cards. As it's a new class, you are limited to Generic and Pirate mostly. Overall, Pirate seems very powerful. I think it's a very, very good class. And I say class because it's a class and not a trait, which means you might get more Pirates in the future alongside other traits like Draconic, Mystic, whatever. I think Mystic Pirate might be a pretty good design space, as Pirate cares about blues and Mystic cares about blues. Although I'm a little scared if my opponent plays a Murderous Rabble and then flips a Chi off the top. Just saying. But with all of that, I'm going to end the video now. I don't know how long this section was. The other two were short. This one was very, very long. Overall, I think Pirate's okay. I think the cards we went over today, Ranger and Mech, are really, really good. I think the set is really, really good. You're not going to be able to buy it anywhere because it's going to be bought out because of the gold packs, because the set's actually playable. I mean, Hunted was playable, but mainly it was bought out because of some of the more expensive cards in the set. We also didn't talk about that Codex is getting a reprint this set, but that's in the expansion slot, and I'm not talking about that until next week. So come back next week for when we take a look at all of the Necromancer cards, all of the generic cards, and all of the expansion slot cards. Goodbye. I will see you in the next video. I hope you had a good one. Have a good one.